So what are racial disparities? So racial disparities refers to differences in treatment and outcome due to race. These disparities can present themselves through housing and education and safety and income, and again, other aspects of our lives in society.
And here are some examples of racial disparities. Some of these being racial segregation in the housing market, or something like lesser representation within the workforce, which is actually something we'll be looking at later on in the presentation. And specifically for this presentation, we're going to focus on racial disparities within the STEM field.
So now that we know general statistics about the presence of these disparities in STEM, we begin to ask ourselves, like Justin said, why these disparities exist. So as a group, we utilize the data we collected in our own personal experiences to formulate a list of possible reasons.
Here, kind of jumping into a more specific kind of visualization of the senior software developers, we can see just off the bat, white people are very much dominating this field of work in the technology industry. And the second demographic would be Asians, with about 30% of the demographic covered. But just jumping from white to Asian, you can see that the drop off is massive.
So now when we go to Severtri Wilson, Wilson is the founder of Roselia, which is a tech company that builds data-driven communications. Customers use their products to access on-demand technical assistance, evaluate their progress, and strategize for maximum income. However, did you know Wilson was the first Black woman in Louisiana to raise over $1 million in venture capital? Since 2009, she's raised over $3 million in venture capital. Wilson is continuing to work in the New Orleans area, and she's determined to grow and develop her company while also providing access to the people in her community. She has access to education and resources, but most notably that's different is the capital. And because she has money, she can now make mistakes. She's made over 3 businesses, and most notably now we know her for Roselia, but we don't really know her other 2, and that's because they didn't work out as well. But because she had the money to keep trying, she's able to continue and eventually get a successful company. But most Black and Hispanic people don't have that generational wealth or ability to get capital to make mistakes. So those are things that we can consider when we talk about solutions, specifically in technology. How do we get these Black and Hispanic kids to end up being like Wilson or Nelson?
Lack of access to quality education and the lack of enforcement pushing kids to pursue careers in STEM obviously presents itself as one factor that causes these racial disparities. We have to be able to give those kids the opportunity and the education required, like Justin and Chandler talked about, to help build the success within STEM.